Happy Tuesday, and what a Tuesday it's going to be. Thank you for being here. What are you watching, you may be asking yourself. It is the Imperfect Action live stream. We've definitely already had some imperfect action already. Got some weather rolling through down where I'm at. And next year is a little bit north of me. I'd like to share with you, we could have the 10 inches of rain here in the next 72 hours. I'm like, good grief. We had some heavy rain last night. Trying to get set up. Oh boy, I had some definitely some imperfect action associated with that, but we're here nonetheless. Who am I? I am Rob Fensterbaker, former corporate burnout survivor turned kingdom builder. Your kingdom builder. And if you're wondering what you're watching, it is the Imperfect Action live stream. Other than doing the Imperfect Action live stream, I got some other things coming up this week. I got the virtual Friday whiskey hour, Friday at 5 o'clock. Some people say, hey, I don't drink whiskey. No, there's no requirement to drink whiskey. There's no requirement to drink anything. Just show up and enjoy the conversation as we close out the work week. It's a great way to network. It's some great conversations. We've had conversations as, what's the good and bad of the ugly of our future with AI? Interesting. I don't know what that's going to be. Let's get into it. Again, like I said, this is the Imperfect Action live stream. My guest today is a motivational speaker, Nick Klingensmith. How you doing today?
Rob, I am outstanding. Just happy to be here and not looking forward to when those 10 inches of rain head my way.
Yeah, you're just a little bit north of me. You're up in Tampa. I'm in Venice, which is about an hour south of where you're at. And we had some heavy rains come through last night. I took the dog for a walk this morning, and I messed up and didn't necessarily look at my weather app. So I take him on about a mile walk. I was a half a mile away from the house, and the skies just opened up. It was a torrential downpour. The good thing, I guess, when you're in South Florida, it's 80 degrees and it's raining. It actually felt kind of good, but by the time we got back to the house, both the dog and I, we were drenched. But
that's my standard morning down here because I run in the morning. So that's how I come back every time I go out here.
I call this time of the year in South Florida swamp-ass weather because by the end of the day, your ass feels like a swamp.
Accurate.
So Nick, I know you're a motivational speaker, and I've had the opportunity to watch some of your stuff, and we've had conversations before. And when you have those opportunities to present, to do those talks, what is it you really hope to get out of those opportunities?
My number one goal in any of this is to help people. Mm-hmm. Throughout my journey, and for those who don't know, I'm a 4-time cancer survivor. I'm a type 1 diabetic. I'm a recovering alcoholic. I have 7 herniated discs, 2 different rollover fatality car accidents. I have nerve damage, sleep apnea. I almost died from meningitis. I went all 12 rounds with COVID. I've got a bad attitude, bills to pay. And in the last 7 years, I became an obstacle course racer and defied it all. I've done 104 Spartan races and counting, 6 major marathons including Boston, Chicago, New York, and Berlin, and scores of other obstacle course and Sufferfest. And in 2021, I published my book, Through the Fire. And it was through that process of writing the book that I actually began to see my life from a different perspective. And it was through that process that I really abandoned this victim mindset that I had just developed my entire life. Because up until that moment, I was still saying, please, make it stop. Why me?
Yeah.
And then it was almost like like an epiphany. And I just made a decision that it's not going to stop. You know what? I am meant to take a beating. I am meant for a long, hard climb. but I knew that I could use it for something. And therefore, my purpose became to overcome every obstacle and inspire others that they can too. And so that is the very first thing, is that it's an opportunity for me to help and inspire others to make changes in their own life and to take action towards their own goals. However imperfect they may be.
Yeah, as imperfect they may be. That's it. And it's just you're taking the action. And as you said that, you kind of said, why me? And I've been through some things, not to the extent of what you have, but I've been to those things, and I would say that, and then I would kind of look at it and like, well, why not me? Why not me? Well, maybe I'm equipped to endure this and get on the other side of this and use my experience to empower others, to equip them so when they go through it, I'm there for them. Because, we all have those experiences. Like, we're all unique. We all have, and those experiences we have are unique to us. But just because we've gone through something, that doesn't mean we're the only one that's gone through it. There's other people that have gone through that. And I like to say, when you live out of abundance and you take those things that you've been through, it serves other people in a powerful way. In a way that you give them hope. You give them hope that when they're, neck deep in whatever it is they're going on, they can see the light at the end of the tunnel. Realize that's not a train coming down, and that's some hope. That's hope coming their way.
A few things that I've learned. Number one, never compare. Even the comment you said, I haven't gone to the extent of stop that nonsense. Like you said right after that, we all have our own frame of reference. We all have this unique perspective, and we should never minimize what we have gone through. The worst thing somebody's ever gone through is stubbing their toes, and that's the worst thing they've ever gone through. It's because it doesn't mean anything to me. That might be catastrophic to that person. Wow, I lost my train of thought. Oh, here we go. So the second part, and I'm glad you put up the frame of mental endurance, because a lot of people, I'm going to say almost most people, have gone through very challenging and difficult times, because that's what life is. The difference is, and this is the other thing that I've learned, just because you have experienced hard times does not mean that you're harder from it. Most people choose to stay in that victimhood. They choose to stay where I was, saying, please make it stop, why me? And then they confuse resilience with resentment, and they think they're tough just because they're pissed. But all that does is isolate, and it has a shelf life. You only have so much of that mental stamina that you can create on that, which is why it's exhausting. So part of the way that we start building mental endurance is saying, why not me? And taking responsibility for the situations and circumstances that we're facing.
Yeah, I agree. And, those experiences that we have, we learn from them. And I agree with what you say, the victim mindset. I see so many people, they want to be a victim. And I'm just like, that's living life out of scarcity, because you want to. They wear that victimhood like a badge of honor for whatever reason. They say, I can't do it because I'm this. Well, and to me, that's just hanging on to your past. And the past is over. You can't change the past. We've all got a past. We've got the good, the bad, and the ugly in our past. But too many people want to hang on to that bad and the ugly, and they create an identity around that. I call it their garbage, and we guard that garbage. Thursday night around here is always a big night. That's the night I haul the garbage down to the curb. Okay, everybody hauls their garbage down to the curb, and I've yet to see anybody on Thursday night sit down there and guard their garbage. Maybe already coming about, but that's what we do when we get that victim mindset. We guard that garbage in our head. Nobody can have it because this is who. No, take that next step. Become mentally strong and move past that. So how did you move past all these things you went through? You went through a plethora of stuff. How were you able to move past all that?
I first had to be aware of it. Then I had to accept it, and then I had to make a decision. And what that was for me is when I first started obstacle racing, I didn't want to do it. My boss walks into my office on a Friday afternoon, and he's like, Nick, I want to do a Spartan race. You're going to do it with me. I looked at him and I'm like, fuck I am. Like, no way. That's going to be so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And I went home that night And I literally was on the couch. And that's when I discovered the problem is that I already was that uncomfortable. I had been through so much. Where I was right then, I was 2 years sober. I was just promoted at work. I was running a sales channel. I had almost 100 people working for me. I was dating a new girl that's my now wife.
Yeah.
And I had just decisively beaten cancer for the 4th time.
Yeah.
And I was stuck. I already was uncomfortable, so I had to say yes to something new, just to take that first step off the couch. I had no idea that this was going to be the lifestyle that I would be living. I thought I was signing up for one race. But throughout the process of training for the race, and all of a sudden understanding that overcoming obstacles is a process and one that can be learned, and it applies to obstacles on or off the field. Learning that resilience is a process and how to develop it.
Yeah.
Connecting my mind, body, and spirit throughout the months of doing my first couple races. And then I just felt better about myself. And that's when I got hit by the second car. I got several herniated discs. I was sitting at a red light, and a lady who was going full speed hit me from behind.
Yeah.
She died as a result of the accident.
Yeah.
And even though all I was doing was sitting at a red light, that the last thing that happened to her was me. Later that night, my cat died at 12 years. And I found myself right back where I started.
Yeah.
Undiagnosed nerve damage, herniated discs, somebody was dead because of me is how I felt. My cat died. I just felt so lost and stuck right where I was.
Yeah.
And I realized that having it all taken away from me, then I was forced with a decision. And it was then that I realized that I was still playing the victim, even though I had gone through so much. And started to take action in my life. The mental attitude that I had, I was still playing the victim because there I was saying, why me? And here's where it came down to. I threw a glorified temper tantrum because I'd had enough.
Yeah.
And that was it. I said, enough of this bullshit. I refuse to be a victim. I will not be defined by my adversity, but rather my triumph over it. And I decided to pick a fight like a rebellious teenager. I mean, why do you think I climb mountains and shit on weekends? Because I want to say, F you to diabetes. I literally write fuck cancer on my chest when I race every race now to encourage and inspire and give hope to others. I do my best to help other alcoholics recover. Everything has been from that moment of like a decision to get out of that mindset and change that mindset.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Yeah, you like to say how you describe it. You got sick and tired of being sick and tired, and it was time to do something.
First, I had to realize that I was, and that it was a choice to make a change.
Yeah,
that's the hardest part that nobody wants to do. Right now, there are people shaking their heads. Down, he doesn't know what I'm going through. It's a decision to stay in that mindset or not.
Right. And here's the thing: all our journeys are unique. There's no journey like what I have. There's no journey like what you have. But in that uniqueness, that's part of our story. And stories inspire. Stories need to be told. We all have a story to tell. And when you remain in that victim mindset, you're not letting your story be told. You're not.
You are the expert in someone else's story.
Yeah, you know, like I say, I love music, and one song, probably one of my favorite songs, the song "Wish You Were Here," and there's a line in that song that every time I hear it, it just gives me chills. So, did you exchange a walk-on part in the war for a lead role in the cage? The victim wants that lead role in cage, but the victor, he wants that walk-on part in the war. And just it's just some little act in that walk-on part in the war can you don't know how you can change the world. You may be able to change one person's life. That's all it is. But that one person you change may be able to change 1 million people's lives. And that's what it's about. You don't know how and what we do can change this world. I absolutely believe we all can change the world. We can do it. We have to have that mindset. But it takes a mindset of abundance. Can I change it on the macro level? I don't know, but I can definitely change it on the micro level. I can change my world, and I can change those worlds of those that I have connection with. Because you never know how you change somebody's world, what they can do with that.
So this is why I love the name of the podcast, because I even posted about this today.
Yeah.
And I said that if you want to change, you have to make change.
Yeah.
People look at this and say, I can't do all that. Well, I didn't do all this. I didn't even run one race. I registered for a race. The simple, imperfect action. If somebody wants to lose weight, you know what they should do today? Just drink a glass of water. That's where we start. Take the imperfect action, right? It starts with a thought. The thought, the vague idea, the thing that I want to be better at, healthier than, blah, blah, blah. And then it becomes a decision. I am going to do this. And then it's that simple, imperfect action. And I think we stall so much thinking of like it has to be perfect and right. Yet it breaks down to the most simplest and ridiculous step. And I love what you were saying a minute ago, because to me, it's like I am that guy who's looking to set my heart on fire now. Now that I know what it feels like to thrive in life, like literally just thrive. Even when times are bad, you can still thrive. I want more of it. And because of, I looked up a meme yesterday because of, I don't know if you watch the show Suits, but I love it when Harvey said, he goes, life is this. I like this.
Yeah.
And that just reminds me of like that's how I want my heart on fire.
Yeah, fire is powerful. I mean, fire lights the way, fire illuminates, fire purifies. We watch these every year. They have these horrific forest fires, and everybody gets all alarmed. But there's something good that happens after that fire. There's a rebirth. There's a new rebirth in those forests, and sometimes you need those fires to get rid of whatever the dross that's there. I go back to with the goldsmith. You want to be a goldsmith. What's the first thing a goldsmith has to do to get pure gold? He's got to fire. He's got to get all the impurities and the dross out of it, and keep doing that and keep doing that and keep doing that till he gets to as pure a level as he can. And it's the same with our lives. Sometimes we need to fire our lives to get all that debris and everything out of our lives, so we can live that life of intention and clarity and focus.
There's always a lot of talk, especially with entrepreneurs who talk about how people say that, successful entrepreneurs always have this morning routine. And then, of course, there's a bunch of people who make fun of people who say that entrepreneurs have this morning routine. But for me, what it is, the importance of having some predetermined steps is I'm on step 7 before I have to use my brain. So I haven't had to make I haven't had the opportunity to make a decision to not do something yet. By the time I have a decision whether or not to go back to bed, whether or not to take my workout, whether or not to do whatever, I'm already on the floor with my coffee. I've said my prayers and I'm beginning to stretch. At that point, I'm not going to play. I'm just going to start taking the next step and the next step. So I can't emphasize enough how God, a step in the wrong direction is better than no step at all.
Exactly.
You're going to learn what the right direction is.
Exactly. You learn so much from your mistakes. I think failure in many ways is more powerful than success, because you learn more about yourself in times of failure. If you're just successful, if you just have a lot of success, sometimes you get full of yourself.
You know what's funny is that how we look at success and failure as finite, as static events. When success is a moving target. I was talking about this on the phone with somebody yesterday. I graduated UMass in 2001, and I paid my own way through school. I've been working since it was illegal, and so I worked 40 to 60 hours a week in restaurants while in college, while doing Costco as a legal studies major and history minor. So all I did was read and write. So basically, I worked my ass off, right?
Yeah.
And I graduated Dean's List, and I was proud of myself, and I was ambitious. And then what? And it was like I spent 5 years. I found my way into sales. I spent the next 5 years sort of like I had no more fire because I didn't know what was next.
Yeah.
So what it was, I achieved success, and then what? So that happens with a lot of us. We achieve this thing, and we forget that mountains aren't straight paths. And also the fact that failure. Success is temporary no matter what we do.
Correct.
But failure is temporary if we
allow
refuse to let it be forever.
Yeah, it can be permanent if you allow it.
Yeah.
And I agree with you on success. I mean, we all want to be successful. I mean, who doesn't want to be successful in life, successful in what they do? But you're right. The problem with success is it's so fleeting. And I think back to my time in corporate, that every time this is what you have to do to be successful. This is how it was defined to me. Okay, let me pursue it. And every time I felt like I was about ready to cross that finish line, it would move. I'm like, what? Okay, why? Because either a new policy come down from on high, or they bring a new sheriff in. I'm just like, all right. And so I realized that instead of just chasing success, start pursuing significance. And to me, significance is that opportunity to leave that legacy. You leave your mark. I call it your dash. That dash. And you go to a cemetery, you see a headstone. Date they're born, date they died, and in between's a dash. And we never know what that dash represents, but that dash represents, the people they love, the things they did, the things they were passionate about, how they made a difference, their successes, their failures. That's what that dash represents. And each and every day is an opportunity to add something more to that dash of your life. And time is our most valuable asset that we have. Too many people don't understand that. They
finite, cannot be created, it cannot be stored, it cannot be
exactly.
The moment I get like that, it's gone forever.
It's gone. You can lose all your money, you can get it all back. You can lose your house and property, get it all back. You can even lose your life and get that back.
But as somebody in recovery, I can tell you that all of those statements are 100% true.
Yeah, absolutely. And as a person of faith, I mean, my faith is important to me, and I think what makes time so valuable is that God does not exist within the continuum of time. He gives us his gift, time. Here you go. Here's your time. Do something with it. We have to do something with it. I mean, we have a limited time. All I know as I sit here today, I am one day closer to my time running out than I was yesterday. So I have to be intentional with how I use it.
No, I think another area that maybe, and this was it for me too. We talk about how you can change the world.
Yeah.
Most people don't want to change the world. A lot of people wouldn't mind if it changed, but not everybody's trying to set the world on fire. Not everybody's trying to be the next doctor, jobs, or even you or me, right?
Yeah.
And so they decide to not act at all.
Yeah.
Beginning to realize that the majority of life is it's not here. It's not here. You just need it to be here. You can thrive in your own standards, in your own situation, that whatever situation you're in, you can rise above it, and you don't have to be like the next YouTube star to get there. It doesn't have to be the thing that changes everybody. The only person that needs to change is you, and the only person that has to benefit from it is you. However, the beauty of that is everyone around you is going to benefit from it too. What I have found is like good habits are a gateway drug, and so is positive change. When I grow, I just keep growing. Like I like the person I see in the mirror.
Yeah, and changing the world doesn't mean we have to do some big, grandiose plan. It's often just the simple things. A smile can change somebody's world immeasurably, because we never really know what's going on inside somebody's head. We don't know what kind of day they're having. We don't know, but that's smile or a kind word at the right time can change their life immeasurably. They can be thinking of going. What's that?
You want to blow somebody's mind and looking at you ready? I want to make sure everybody can hear this one. Let somebody else into traffic. Let somebody merge over.
Yes. My wife accuses me of being my wife accuses me of road rage all the time. I'm like, no. I'm not. My blood pressure never goes up, but you know what? I just want people to drive as well as I do. That's it. So, but no, I will let people in. I agree. It drives me nuts when I have my blinker on and somebody won't let me over. They got to cut me off. I'm like, come on, dude. What the
it's not for them, though. It's for you. It's giving yourself permission to not have to race to the next life. It's giving yourself a 1 second break of not having the anxiety of having everybody else in your competition.
Yeah.
It's the little things that we take out. Plus down here, I mean, I'm from Massachusetts, man. I used to drive aggressive as I could, but there's a fatality crash a mile
every day.
down my house every single
like.
day.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be one of them. So, I've changed my perspective on all of it, and I would rather just stay alive.
Yeah, Florida drive. It's interesting driving in Florida. I mean, if you're on the interstate and you're not pushing 80 miles an hour, people are just blowing by you. So you just got to. So everybody say, they say Florida can be laid back, but it seems like everybody's in a hurry when they're on the highway down here.
Yep.
So all right. So I know, obviously. Well, I want to circle back one thing. So your first Spartan race, you did it. You kind of did it begrudgingly. How long is a Spartan race? Is there usually a set length, distance?
There's different distances that you can sign up for. My first race was what's known as a super, which is approximately a 10K. I want to say it was just over 8 miles and maybe 25 miles.
Okay. So that's as long as a Spartan will be, is a 10K.
No, the longest one will be what's known as an ultra, which is about 32 miles. And depending on venue, so my next race is actually in Killington, Vermont in September, on a mountain, and it's an ultra. It's about 32 miles and give or take 16 to 15,000 feet of climbing.
Yeah.
And 70.
Now these are not on obstacles. These are not on tracks. These are.
This is up. You are up the face of the mountain.
You're going up the face of the mountain. Okay.
Whatever the most. Have you seen Armageddon?
No, I have not. No, I have not.
Well, I'm going to tell the scene anyway. They're describing the asteroid and what it's going to be like on the asteroid, and the NASA guys are using all the scientific language. And then you got Owen Wilson sitting there, and he just goes, "Okay, so scariest environment imaginable. Let's say that. Scariest environment imaginable." Anyways, that's the Killington Ultra.
Okay. All right.
But my first race was about an 8-miler, and it was in Jacksonville, Florida, and it was a trail run with obstacles.
Okay. I've never won one. I do, you talk about Imperfect Action. I started running. I mean, I was in the military, so you're expected to run. Towards the end of my military career, I had 3 knee surgeries. I'm like, I'm done running. I don't want to run anymore. I did it because you had to do it. So my wife, what she do, she signs me up for a Thanksgiving Day 4-miler. She just signed me up. She's like, "You're doing it." Okay. It was, 4 weeks out. So I did it, trained it, and ever since then I just started running. I ran my first marathon this year. You said you ran multiple marathons. I ran my first marathon earlier this year. I've got a half marathon coming up. Half marathon's about the distance I like. Full marathon is just, there's a lot of training involved in it, and I just I don't know. I mean, maybe I'll do one again. I figured out the best way to do it. I don't know if you do this. Is the Galloway method. Are you familiar with that? Is that how you run them? Where you're off and on. You run for a set amount of time, you walk for a set amount of time. So you get that cadence. So my first marathon, we were doing 30-second run, 30-second walk, 30-second run. That was the only way I got through it. It's the only way I was going to get through it.
Yeah,
actually, you got a pretty good time with that. You would be surprised. Your time's actually pretty good.
Actually, in the 2018 Chicago Marathon, it was so damn frustrating because there was this guy, and he was kind of like dressed like a bumblebee. That's why I kept remembering him. And he was on a run walk time thing. And I think he might have beat me, but it was like I was running the whole time trying to keep up with him.
Yeah.
And so here's something I want to throw at you right now because it's only going to be less than 2 hours away from you. But the second week of December, there's going to be a Spartan race in Lake Placid. They have all the race distances. They have the half marathon distance. They have the 10K distance and the 5K distance.
Yeah.
I'm running the half marathon in the competitive division. But the next day on that Sunday, there's the super, which is the 10K distance. I'm going with my wife, a buddy, and as many other people as I can recruit. And I got a free race pass with your name all over it.
I'll try, and I think that may be the time I'm going to be out of the country. My wife and I were going to Australia and New Zealand in December, so if I can fit it in my schedule, absolutely, I'd love to do it. I would absolutely love it.
That's a worthwhile excuse.
Yeah. This is a trip of a lifetime, and so we embraced it. The cool thing about this trip is we are realizing how far our money So for every dollar we're spending, we're getting it back in return about $1.60 Australian dollars.
Oh,
And that's yeah. So that is so cool. So we're really making out on that. So as you started down this journey, obviously you had to really have some goals. So you had to have some goals that you really had to set. And those visions we have, I like to say everything is created twice. And when it comes to vision, you have that vision first, and then you start doing something about it. So that's like twice creation. And as you went through your journey of turning those visions into your SMART goals, how'd you go through that process?
In the beginning, it was I didn't recognize the process as it was unfolding. Everything's hindsight's the other way.
Hindsight's 2020. Hindsight's 2020.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. So I'm able to recognize what happened first was I had to enact some discipline into my life.
Okay.
It was I had to be more intentional with the time that I was using. I didn't necessarily have a set goal yet. It was just the first race was about survival. So I found a way to train for it, and it became a matter of making the time to train for it. And all I had to do that was set my alarm earlier before work. So here's this complicated thing that's 9 weeks out that I have no idea how to do it. I've never seen it before. As big as social media has been, Spartan was like a secret back then. So you really didn't know what to prepare for. And so we just, you cobble together some information the best we can. I made a training plan, and I realized the only different things I needed to make in my life was set the alarm earlier. So I broke it down to the smallest possible thing. As things began to progress, and over the next several years, I would set bigger and bigger targets. But the first time I think I got really super intentional was my first marathon. It was the Boston Marathon. My goal was, I did have time goals, but they were arbitrary. My goal was just to finish the thing. It was the Boston Marathon.
That was my goal for my first marathon. I just wanted to cross the finish line. That was all. That's all I wanted to do.
And as a personal goal, I wanted to run without stopping. And then of course when I got there, it was the worst weather conditions arguably in the history of the Boston Marathon. It was 20 degrees and sleeting the entire time, 40-mile-an-hour headwinds, torrential downpours, miserable. But I wasn't going to wing it for a marathon. So I have this abstract vision of myself. I wanted to, why I wanted to run the Boston Marathon is because I wanted to punch back after the bombing.
Yeah.
I grew up in Massachusetts. I've been to the marathon a dozen times. I just felt a kinship to it, and I wanted to punch back. And the way I knew how to do so was by running the marathon.
Yeah.
So you've got the abstract goal, and now I turn it into a tangible thing. Run the marathon. Punch back, feel better, run the marathon. No, I need a training plan. So I actually joined a couple of groups and took those actions so that I could find the information that I needed to put together a training plan. And then it became a matter of planning it and then simply executing the plan. So the reason I mentioned about the group is because a lot of times we get stuck not knowing what the next step is. Like, how do I do this? And so we don't take that action.
Right.
When I'm working with my clients now, when I know how to do something, it's fine. I set them down a path. When neither one of us have any idea what the thing is, I give them the assignment of, okay, Google, how do I do this? It's the simplest step that so many times we don't do it. Like, listen, I can be tough in a lot of ways, but when it comes to fixing things around the house, I'm not a man's man. I don't know how to do anything. So when I have to fix something that I can't simply call someone else for, or that we're calling someone else for, thank you, YouTube.
YouTube powerful.
So
yes.
That was the first time that I had to completely figure out everything in track. All I knew was I wanted to run the marathon, so I had to figure out how to get into the marathon. And I had to figure out how to train for the marathon. And I had to figure out how to stay and get in logistics for the marathon and nutrition for the marathon. So all these things gave me more sort of rabbit holes to then assign steps to. How do I do X and Y? And then it became daily execution. And the thing is, with a big goal, it requires a big focus. I think too many people, and I know I used. Actually, no, I didn't. I never cared. The myth of a work-life balance gets in the way. The myth of balance gets in the way in general. The only time you ever balance is when you're standing still on your own 2 feet.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if we want to do great things, that means we have to spend our time out of balance.
Yeah. Yeah. You said YouTube how to run a marathon. The one thing I've learned when I was training mine, you got to be putting the right food. You got to be eating. You got to be eating. You got to put a crap ton of calories in. I got to the point every time I had a long run, I had my favorite snack. It would be a peanut butter banana sandwich. I would eat it, and that gave me enough energy to get to the end of that. And even for every long run I do, that's what I have. Peanut butter banana sandwich. Just gives me the right sugar, protein I need to get to the end of it. So that's just my personal discovery. But getting back to goals, I think a lot of problems that people have with goals is that they set these goals that don't really do anything. A goal should take you to another level. A goal should push you. Now, you can have your silly goals. I mean, I have some silly goals in life, but I also have those big goals, and I want those goals to elevate me to something else. And as you say, you work with your clients. If you see somebody that just has a goal that you think is too easy for them to accomplish, how do you challenge them with that?
Well, it starts with this. Superficial goals have superficial rewards. You're 100% right. But where I start with them is understanding what is the higher purpose for what they're trying to do. Sorry, I had to wait for all those echoes. We want to set purpose-driven goals that are deeply rooted in personal motivation, and that's where the first thing that starts. It's okay if you can have a simple goal. I'm going to give an example of something. One of the guys that I'm working with, we set three major kind of projects to work on at once. One was a podcast that he wants to do, and that was more of a longer-term play. Another was a trip for his dad. This was all by way of reverse engineering from his vision of being a good son. And ultimately we found some tangible things. But then another thing was he wanted to see Bill Burr live, like in the front row. He's been in a position where he's making a lot of money. He wants to stay focused and motivated at work. He wants to be focused and motivated in his career. He doesn't want to play small ball anymore. So one of the things that, of course, I'm encouraging him on is to give him permission to, enjoy some of the benefits of doing well financially. Don't be afraid to spend money on a ticket and go see something and fly somewhere. And therefore, it's a deeper connection to why he's doing it. So buying concert tickets or comedian tickets are very superficial, small goals to most people.
Right.
But for him, it connected him to the drive of why I'm doing what I'm doing. That's why when he came to work on Monday, it was a goal of celebrating the fact that with a click of a button, he can go fly somewhere and take that action.
Yeah.
So beyond
it's a celebration. We got to pause for those celebrations. You have to.
And the thing is, that's what keeps you moving towards the other one. If you're setting a goal, so I've been chasing this mountain goal for 3 damn years, all right? Like I actually failed it already. And so it's a big abstract goal, so I need to break those actions down into today. But I know that wasn't the question. A lot of it has to do with, it doesn't matter what you're doing, it matters who's how you're doing it.
Right.
You have to be able to connect your why to that higher purpose. If you just randomly pick goals like I did in 2019, I set so many goals, I don't know what they were. And they were arbitrary. They were just things I thought I should do. And if you don't, it just becomes a task list that will never be completed. And it takes us away from the most important thing. So here's the thing when I'm challenging people. First, I have them write a vision of their last phase of life. Literally, dream. Where are you living? How have you spent the last 40 years? What did you do? Are you active? Tell me everything about who you are, things that you have, things that you did and see. And then we reverse engineer it and do that again when they say 55. And then when they say 55 or 45, up until about 1 year from now. And of course, as you go down through that, it becomes more and more specific. And then you're able to start identifying patterns, intangible things, and conflicts. You can kind of resolve some of those things. But it also begins to paint a picture, an actual tangible picture of what this dream might look like. And I'm going to just give an example of something. If you see yourself in this house when you're 85 years old, and you describe this house. Now you do a vision of 65 years old, and you describe the same house. And now you're at 55, and now you're at 45. Basically, there's something that you want, and now we can turn it into a tangible goal and figure out what are the things that we have to do to pursue it. Including, and it usually breaks down into something like, now I need to make more money for this. Which is fine because the people I'm working with are achievement-driven professionals, and they want to stay motivated and engaged at work.
Yeah, it comes down to responsibility. Accepting that responsibility for who we are and what we have to offer. I think that's so so valuable because I don't, I call it our ownership, accountability, and responsibility for our lives. We're the only ones that can accept that, and we got to we have to be accountable to ourselves, but we also have to be accountable to those that are important in our lives, and it's our responsibility to live that life in a way that exudes that. And getting back to those goals, you have to be. I kind of like what you said there. You have to be very specific on it. Don't be vague. Be specific on it, because the words are powerful, and the words we use to describe those things are powerful.
At the end of it, every goal needs to be broken down into a dollar sign, pound sign, a percentage sign, and it needs a date. Otherwise, it's an unachievable goal.
True.
It's just a vision. And so ultimately, it has to be something that breaks down to, I am going to do X of this by Y. And then it becomes a goal. And I love that you talk about
that. It gives you that sense of urgency, especially as you see that day coming up. You're like, all right, I got to get moving here. There's something powerful about that sense of urgency.
So, I'm going to be hosting a master class. I mentioned that earlier. Tomorrow. A lot on this topic, on mastering epic goal setting and igniting action. And this would be my first time hosting.
Okay.
I've done the content. I've talked about this all the time, but I've never put together a master class. So that's an overwhelming thing, and you have no idea what to do until you simply break it down and write down the steps. I break down the steps into the most ridiculous simple steps you can. So it was like, write a title, write a description, what platform am I going to use? Step 1, step 2, step 3, and it just keeps you moving throughout. And then all of a sudden you're like 70% of the way done with it, and you don't even realize you did it.
Yeah. That's cool. So, how many marathons you said you run? How many? What was the number?
6.
6. Okay.
So far.
And so Boston was your first. Is that hear that right? Okay.
I've run Boston twice, Chicago twice, New York, and Berlin.
And so was the last one?
Berlin.
Okay.
Germany.
Yeah. Okay.
I ran that one when he chosen for his own world record. And I like to say that it's because I was there and I ran my personal best that I drove him to do his own world record.
Yeah.
I mean, he could have run it twice in the amount of time it took me to run it. And had time to relax after.
So here's the cool thing. Like I said, I've only run one marathon in my life. I ran that in January. I got a PR now. So I have a PR. So that's important. I know that's, if you're a marathoner, you know what I mean. You got your PR, your personal record. So you're right. I mean, I'm never going to compete against the people. Like this marathon I ran, I think the winner did it in some ridiculous time, like 2 hours and 40 minutes. I mean, good grief. By that point, I wasn't even halfway through 2 hours and 40 minutes into it. But you got to compete against yourself. And that's just it. Am I going to be better today than I was yesterday? And that's the challenge.
If you're not winning a marathon, then it's just you versus you.
Yeah. I'm never going to win a marathon, but I can beat my personal record, and that's where my win is at.
I've been slapped recently, not physically, but for saying I was never going to do something. Like I said, I'll never place on a podium. And it was another coach I talked to, and she was like, why not? And I started rattling off these things, but she was like, and I'm like, you're right, I'm limiting myself. I just
you're right. I'm never going to win it, but I could at least place in my age, maybe win my age group. I've actually, I've done some 5Ks.
That's a beautiful thing. I've
done some 5Ks. I've done some 5Ks where I finished in the top 3 in my age group. So I'm like, okay, cool.
That's one of the beautiful things about endurance sports. When I'm like, I am not going to win in a loose Spartan ever. Is it possible I get on the podium in my age group?
Yeah.
Maybe.
It's possible. I mean, I've done it, and I'm certainly not an accomplished runner, but I've been able to do it. Granted, it's 5K.
It's a different thing to keep moving forward. I mean, I've played competitive beach volleyball for 25 years. If I was still playing competitive beach volleyball, I would be way aged out.
But the cool thing, I got a birthday coming up. I'm 60 right now, so I got a birthday coming up here in a few weeks. But I'm probably in the best shape I've ever been in my life, and I've always been active. I just really changed a lot of things about my life as far as diet, and actually, I've always exercised, but really upping my exercise. I kind of stepped into. I'm drawing a blank on it now. Good grief, I'm drawing a blank. What's Spartan? What's the other big exercise trend? I'm drawing a blank on what it is. CrossFit. Goodness gracious, thank you for that. About 10 years ago, I worked with a CrossFit trainer and trained CrossFit, and that was just a new way to really appreciate exercise. Especially, at that point I was in my early 50s, and it just kind of helped me to see, all right, I can do some of this stuff, and just gave me a different outlook instead of just trying to do the things I was doing. And that kind of is what got me there. And it was just an opportunity. I tried. I'm like, okay, let me give it a shot. And we don't realize all those opportunities that we have each and every day. Those are they can take us somewhere else.
Well, it's really like it's not about the exercise. I mean, it is physically, but it's the things that manifest from it. And I was never disciplined before this life. But this life requires me to be disciplined. I was never consistent before this life. But this life requires me to be consistent. And I have found no greater weapon against all adversaries than consistency and discipline in any action. And that's just and again, it forces me to be intentional with my time, and I apply the things, line of things in my work day to other areas of my life. I have to be very specific about my goals, and I weight them. You know what? I call them goals, but the fact is I should call them priorities, because they're not goals. There's one, or they are, but they're prioritized. Like for example, the number one thing in my life is to stay sober. One day at a time. Every day. There are things I do every day to stay sober. Those things are the most important things in my life. They come before work. They come before my health. They come before my wife. They come before everything. Because if it's not for that, it doesn't matter what number two is.
Yeah.
And so that's how that's good. And my number two priority is my health.
Yeah.
Where
that's good.
Again, without that, it doesn't really matter what number three is.
Yeah. Yeah. You say you got your lessons from obstacles. The one lesson I got from when I picked up running, the age I did, I kind of started running again, and I realized real quick the only way to make it to a finish line it's easy. You just keep putting one foot in front of another in rapid succession, and eventually you get there. And that's what life is about. You got to keep taking those actions one step in front. Don't focus on step number 133. Focus on the next step that you have, because I think a lot of people, they get overwhelmed when they think about it.
They look
at the end game. They do that comparison game, and they see this other person that's out there, and I can never be to them. But we never see what they went through to get to that level.
My first Spartan workout was a 10-minute walk run.
Yeah.
It was a 2-minute jog, a 1-minute walk for like 10 minutes or something. That was it. And now I run 30-something miles. And I mean, but it's been 7 years too. And it doesn't matter. You don't even have to progress. You just run to a point of improvement for yourself. And you don't even have to run. If you're on the couch right now, just go for a walk. 5 minutes more or something today is better than what you didn't do yesterday.
Exactly. And there is, a lot of times, even when I was training for my marathon, there would be days where I was training. I wouldn't run at all. I would just do a walk. I would go for like a 45-minute walk and just be very intentional. And I got a lot out of that. Because, one, I think in a lot of ways, walking is, less impactful on your body. But you get a lot of benefit from walking as well.
Time on feet is so undervalued.
Yeah.
For those who don't really know. I mean, when I'm doing this mountain race, tomorrow I get on my treadmill. Well, tomorrow I go for a 90-minute run in the morning, and then at lunch I go on my treadmill at about a 30% incline, and I take a 40 or 60-pound sandbag on it. But I'm just walking at it's basically as slow as it goes for like 45 minutes, because my heart rate's going to just get into that lower aerobic zone, that kind of zone 2. Mm-hmm. That's all I need to do. Most of my runs don't need my heart beating out of my chest. Most of them are easy, slow runs that develop over time.
So you have to. So when do these Spartan runs? So sometimes you have to carry something?
So one of the obstacles, now why I do it on the treadmill is because I live in Florida and I'm training for the mountain race, so I'm trying to climb. But Spartan has a lot of functional fitness obstacles, what makes it tougher than a lot of the other brands. So yeah, there's carrying a sandbag, carrying buckets, sometimes logs, dragging heavy objects. And this is a mountain race, so they will give you the most treacherous, steep, miserable-ass incline up the mountain, down the mountain. And because I'm running the ultra, that means I do every obstacle twice. So usually in the longer distance race, there's actually 2 sandbag carries too. So that event is nothing short of a sufferfest. Now, again, it's the extreme of if you were to do the super or the sprint, you know, you're in Florida, you're carrying something 200 meters through kind of muddy swamp probably, but it's not quite the same extreme as climbing it up a mountain.
Yeah, I can imagine, yeah.
Ooh, in a 100-pound wall too. Forgot about that.
Yeah, there had to been, I guarantee, I don't know what the history of Spartan is, but it had to have been somebody in the military that started these things, because as you're describing this, you know.
Actually, it was a stockbroker.
Oh, really? Okay.
So
you're describing some of these things. It reminds me of, you know, when I was in the Army, some of the things we had to do, and just you do some of these courses, and you're doing exactly that, and going up and down, and carrying this, and climbing that, and jumping over this. So.
Well, now a lot of brands were started from the military, but yeah, all of this was, a lot of it was designed from former military exercises and trainings, and so the CEO of Spartan Race, again, Joe DeCanna, he was a Wall Street guy, but he's also one of the baddest men on the planet. Like he lived what he spoke. He ultra endurance athlete. But now he's just CEO guy. And, well, actually, he's still pretty tough. I take that back, because when I saw he does races sometimes too. When he's in Killington, I saw him in the race for a little bit. Like, oh shit, he's out there. Good for him. But a lot of these things have, like, you know, based on military origins and stuff like that. And that's why if you do like a Tough Mudder, it doesn't have anything like that. It's just obstacles, and some are fun, some are hard, some are easy. Spartan does a lot of the functional fitness, the heavy carries, and nobody uses the terrain like they do. If the ground broke and just emptied out beneath us, they would have you march through.
I'm going to have to try one of these. I'm going to have to experience one of these. So you got me excited. You've got me interested in this. So I'm kind of coming up on it here. So if people want to reach out to you, is this the best way for them to get in contact with you?
Absolutely. StrideMotivation.com.
Yep. And then go check out their website, www.stridemotivation.com. What will they see when they go to your website?
I'm sorry, say that.
I said, what will they see when they stop by your website?
You know, the best thing to do when you get on my website is book a call. Let's just connect.
Okay.
My favorite thing is to have conversations with people who are either trying to determine what their next step in life is, or maybe kind of work through some of their goals. And that's just a conversation I'm happy to have. And if there's an opportunity to work together from there, cool. If not, just give some good direction and value.
Very cool. Very cool. And I'm easy to reach as well. If you want to reach out to me, just reach me at rob@robfenstermaker.com. You know what? What are you watching here? The Imperfect Action Live Stream. You too can appear as a guest on the Imperfect Action Live Stream if you would choose to do so. Just go to my Calendly link, schedule your date and time to appear. And again, as I mentioned, this coming Friday is the Virtual Friday Whiskey Hour. Just go ahead and stop on by. I don't know what we're going to talk about. I usually figure that out about 24 hours in advance as to what we want to have. I just talk about something that's interesting me and see where the conversation takes us. Next Tuesday will be the Iron Sharpens Iron community. I won't be doing the Imperfect Action live stream on Tuesday. I'll be doing Iron Sharpens Iron. That's just an opportunity to bring people together and share as we support each other and celebrate each other's lives to do the best we can. So, Nick, as we kind of come up on it here, do you have any parting wisdom that you would like to share before we call it a day?
Man, I'm going to tell you to dream big. Dream big, dream often. Dream unencumbered. Have dreams about a future that have nothing to do with your current situation or your past. Be a little kid again. Take all the governors off and dream big.
Yeah. You know, but you said something there that's so important to me. We all had those dreams when we were children. But here's what happens to those children's dream. We let life beat them out of them. And a lot of times, at least from my experience, I know a lot of people too, those dreams that they had when they were a child always return. And if your dreams don't scare you, make them bigger. Make them bigger. There's a reason we have those dreams. And I think it's your opportunity to live that life of significance. And that's the journey I love to take people on, is create that dream and embrace it and take action on it, because there is no such time as the perfect time to act. That's why we call this the Imperfect Action live stream, because the best time to act is now. There's no such time as the perfect time. If you think there's a perfect time, I guarantee you that how you describe that perfect time, even if it were to approach, you would negotiate your way out of it and not take the action. So just take the action. Do it now. Because if you take action now, you're one day closer to achieving your goal. If you wait, you know what? Who knows when that goal or that dream is going to be achieved. So, but hey, Nick, I have really enjoyed this conversation. I've really enjoyed it. And you're up to great things. You're up to some significant things. Keep on keeping on, man. Keep on. So that next marathon, I know it's coming. I don't know when my next marathon's coming. I got a half coming up. I got to start training for that here in another few weeks. I think the training kicks off for that. So I've got 2 halves coming pretty much back to back. So I know the training's coming up here real quick. My wife has that schedule. I just do. I have her show it to me. I'm like, all right, what's on the agenda for today? So she takes care of all that for me. So nice. She's running it with me as well. So does your wife run with you as well?
Yeah, she'll do that part with me. She does them on her own too, but sometimes we do them
together. Very cool. Very cool. All right, Nick, like I said, I have really enjoyed this conversation. I hope everybody got something out of it as well. Hey, let's make this a great day. Take some imperfect action and be bold. Peace out, everyone.